various states in the country. And Georgia was one of them. There was a program called GILEE, the Georgia-Israel Law Enforcement Exchange. And in that program, already racist American police were trained to use even more hyper-surveillance against black communities in Atlanta, even more brutal policing against Pakistani communities in Atlanta, even more tactics of racial profiling, even the very infamous knee on neck repression technique that we saw frequently in the past few years. Those are things that are happening. And I think one of the ways we can show up for one another is challenging and organizing to end these kind of deadly exchanges that materially affect our communities.
Yeah, if I can just add briefly, I thought one of the most powerful parts of your speech was where you made that juxtaposition between what happens in Palestine and what you've observed in black communities in this country. And I think all I would really add is, like, I think we hear terms like intersectional resistance, and yes, it can be symbolic at times, but it's the groundwork, it's the connections that happen, the real human connections, whether through exchange programs that are formal, whether through friendships that are forged through digital connections around shared grievances or what have you. I mean, I've witnessed this happen, and I have become, how can I say this? Like, I have started to find hope through seeing even people who you would never expect, and I'm going to use the media lens just very quickly. Andrea Mitchell. How many of you know her? Maybe you like her, maybe you don't. No one knows her.
I don't know.
Andrea Mitchell is like, I guess you guys are too young, or I don't know. MSNBC is old. Rachel Maddow, you must know. Nobody knows me. Okay, now I digress. The point is, I'm just referencing Jewish women on television. No, I'm joking. Andrea Mitchell, I would have never imagined, given her politics, her background, would, when Israeli members, or I should say Palestinian Israeli members of the Knesset a few years ago were dragged out, quite frankly, as if they were animals from the Knesset because they were like objecting to something or what have you. She tweeted something like, could you imagine if members of the Black Caucus in Congress were just dragged out of Congress because of, and these kinds of, the tweet went viral. And I remember I was like at home, probably doing something I shouldn't have been doing, but watching this unfold, being like, how is this woman saying this and it's going viral? And I just mention this because it's so important, I think, to put pressure and to make things make things that are foreign and other and that we've been conditioned to see as bad or negative or terrorist or what have you, and find ways to make it make sense for people who don't get it, or who don't have the means or the context or the background to get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate both your answers.